Hey there. Curious about networking or how to network like a pro? Stay tuned. Hi there. I'm Stefan Burchard, the Desert Bowtie Realtor in the Cathedral City, Palm Springs area. I help people find, buy, and sell homes, and I love this business. Networking Nuggets is an exploration of business building through networking, social connections, and digital media. The purpose is to build trust, grow our business, increase referrals, and build testimonials. How do you do? So welcome back to Networking Nuggets. Today I'm interviewing Sam Juarez Juarez is the correct pronunciation, with Paget Business Services. Sam, would you like to tell us a little bit about what you do at Paget Business Services?
Hi, Stefan. Yeah, so I'm actually just a staff accountant here at Paget Business Services. I work under the CPA, Kevin Rotenberry, and we just do small business accounting, small business tax prep, and small business tax, of course.
And do numbers light you up? You just love that kind of business?
Actually, I really kind of do. A lot of times when stuff balances, you do get a little rush of adrenaline, I guess, or you really do get happy when stuff works out and you're able to solve the puzzle. That's all it kind of is when it comes down to it, when you're able to solve it.
I remember once upon a time when I had to deal with books and there was that one little 3-cent error and you had to find it, you had to balance. And I do remember that rush when I found the error and it's like, oh, yay, balances.
Yeah, exactly.
So I totally get where you're coming from. So, okay, so let's just get started right away. So the first thing we ask about is venues and avenues that we network. Can you think of anything outside of what people think of as a venue to network at?
Outside of BNI, I say for sure BNI is one of our strongest business networking. But I really do think, especially in times of like this with the whole pandemic, social media has really pushed to the forefront when it comes to networking. And I feel like a lot of people, even like yourself, are starting to see that when you're making your YouTube channels and subscribers. And it's just, I think just different mediums of like, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and each I want to say social media kind of has their own communities that you can really tap into. And it just depends which communities you really want to get into, that you choose the social media from there.
Yeah, really what you pointed out too is it's like life has changed for us. It's not going back to the way it was before March. End of discussion. The pandemic is here with us for the long haul, and we have to adjust our businesses. We have to adjust how we attract business. So that means we have to go digital. We have to go into those social platforms. We have to do the Zoom meetings, and it's the only way to replace the face-to-face. I miss my hugs and handshakes, but what are you going to do? You know, you got to adjust. The world has changed.
Exactly.
So whenever you're going to an event like a BNI face-to-face meeting or some other kind of a networking event, is there any kind of materials of preparation that you'd like to have?
Well, definitely for sure business cards. I just recently submitted my headshot to Kevin so I can get my own Paget business cards to hand out. I know there is some preparation, but all you really have to do is be yourself, your genuine self. I feel like when you're able to allow that to come out, people are going to trust you more. And they're going to be able to, especially when it comes to BNI, you want to trust those people that are in those networks, because at the end of the day, not only are you referring them, but your referral is a reflection on yourself and who's in your circle. There is preparation, coming with the right verbiage, coming with the right, demeanor and dress, but you really can't come prepared when all you really have to do is just be yourself and be what your business stands for.
Absolutely. So sometimes people go, they pretend. That's the quickest, easiest way to say it. And it's like, to me, I'm selling myself. I'm not selling necessarily homes. I mean, yes, but people have to trust me as a provider. And people have to trust you guys as a provider. So if I'm not showing up authentically in these events, whether it's social media or whether it's Facebook Live or whether it's a Zoom conference, I'm kind of missing the mark, because then I'm pretending to be something I'm not. So that's one of the things I love about you, is you're so authentic and you're so out there. You're very outgoing for somebody so young in the business. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. No, and I will say the same about you, is off Zoom, in person, on your YouTube, you're completely the same genuine person, so which is really nice.
Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. So anything that you do that lights you up, inspires you, educates you, how do you feed your mind to keep you going in business?
To keep definitely, it's all pretty much self motivation and really wanting to strive to better yourself. I feel like, of course, education. I wouldn't be where I am without pushing myself to really pursue an education and better myself. When I say self motivation, it's more of a sense of like really taking the time to not just put in hours at work, but to put in hours into self growth and to really stimulate yourself. And when it comes down to working, it's not a 9 to 5 shift. It really is 24/7 bettering yourself and, just making sure that you're hitting those points and getting a better understanding. There's a lot of times where I go, like, for example, this weekend, you want to not think about work, but a lot of times you can't help but not think about work and just be like, oh my God, I forgot. And then there's a lot of times too where I'm even thinking and then it hits me where I'm not at work. Like when I go back to work, I'm going to try this to make sure. And then sure enough, it works. So there's a lot of problem solving too.
So what do you do to break that monotony and feed your head?
To feed my head, I like different outlets such as like music, a lot of inspirational music. I like to paint a lot, something that people really wouldn't think that accountant would do would be painting. I like to paint. I definitely before the whole pandemic, being in a circle of people that are going to also contribute to your thoughts and everything like that. For example, I still talk to a lot of my accounting friends that majored in accounting, and they're also now in the same stages of accounting as me, where it's their first year in accounting. And a lot of time we can bounce back on one another. Like, all right, do you understand when something like this happens? Or I have a really good friend she first got started off in taxes, whereas I kind of first got started off in accounting, which is in our line of work, you're going to do both, but it's really two separate things. So it was really cool to see her, have questions on this isn't making sense in accounting. And because I already kind of did a whole year's worth, I was able to be like, oh, well, this account for that, and vice versa with her in taxes. So.
Teamwork, yes, having people to help us, and that's actually brilliant. I find that in a lot of these networking venues that we create partnerships and friendships with people, and they can keep us going because let's face it, sometimes the grind gets stale, and we need something to uplift and keep us positive. So, hey, do you have any funny stories about networking or any kind of mistake that has a humorous resolution?
Networking, I'll take this back to schooling again. When I was going to school, we had networking events, especially when you're going to business school. And one of the funniest things was the TKB. I don't know if you're familiar with the TKB sandwich shop in Indio, but they were talking to us of how they hired this kind of social media platform, or kind of like not an influencer, but someone that can help navigate them social media. And I think it was so funny because I was just like, why don't you guys, this was, I want to say like 2 years ago. I was like, why don't you guys start like a YouTube channel? I feel like for me personally and my demographics, YouTube is, especially when it comes to food, YouTube is something that you can really just kind of put out there. And they were kind of just, wait, what? They were so taken back. And they're like, why are we even going to pay this guy so much money when here we can just really talk to people here in the campus and get ideas of what social media should be for a food business. So like I was talking to them about, I know it's going to sound funny, and I was even telling Kevin, I was like, mukbang. I don't know if you guys ever heard of mukbangs or anything like that, but I was like, you guys, TKB would be a perfect way to not only showcase your food, but to kind of relay that message and get a younger demographics into TKB. Because when people have like mukbangs or something like that, it's just like almost like a buffet worth of food, and you're able to showcase everything you do and keep people entertained while talking about whatever it is. So I thought that was pretty funny because it was just so random and completely took them and both of us by shock, because it's not something I would even be talking about. You you wouldn't think you're going to be talking about something like that in a business profession.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was super funny, and to this day it sticks to me. So
I think that's cool that you brought to their mind the whole idea of video. You know, they're going to pay this consultant gobs and gobs of money to do the social media for them. It's like, it's really not that hard, people. Number one.
yeah,
Number two, people, they step over video. They don't realize how valuable video is. And that I watch my husband almost every night watch at least 2 or 3 YouTube videos about something. So
Yeah.
and he's a little older than me. So it's like, okay, we're not even in the technical millennial generation, but we definitely see the value of video. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and keep bringing it up, because there's not a lot of people killing it in video. It works for me.
yeah, no, totally. And you know, it's such a good niche that I feel like people need to utilize, because I go to YouTube for everything. I call it like the fountain of knowledge. You know, whether it's buying a house, the first steps to buy a house, you know, I was looking into, whether it was a lot of accounting terms when I was going back in school. I'm just such a visual learner that stuff like that is just, I'm always on it as well. So
Cool. Well, you may have already answered my next question, which is something that you learned that surprised you.
yeah, something that I learned that surprised me. Definitely, I want to say my biggest surprise in life so far is just how different, because this is my first year doing anything that I was taught in school. So it's just how different experience is compared to book knowledge. It's almost like, yes, book knowledge helps. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's almost as if, you know, you're really going in sink or swim with a lot of stuff that you're going to do in life. And so it's just, that was probably my biggest surprise. Something that I would have never thought, you know, would be so different and almost day and night. So I'm kind of excited just to see how it goes on with after 1 year under my belt and every year after that. It's exciting.
Excellent. And you actually bring up a really good point with regards to networking, because it's like people are watching this video or they're listening to it on my podcast. And the bottom line is you need to get out and do it. You need to get out, make some mistakes, get out, skin your knees, bump your elbows, bang your head around. It's okay. We learn the best by making mistakes, in my opinion. It's like that is what sticks with us, is when we make mistakes. We adjust, we get better. I mean, learning how to walk is a really good example. People expect networking to just, I can't do it like you do. So no, get out there and try it. Find your own way to do it, for God's sake. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Your best mistakes and best criticism is actually just better ways to push you. So
yes. Do you have anything you want to add that we haven't talked about regarding networking or inspiration or?
I definitely want to say that, you know, networking is almost always going to be with us, whether you're in a business profession, whether you're in a personal setting. It's networking is going to be pretty much you 24/7. And I feel like a lot of people kind of forget that, because, and that's one thing BNI was able to teach me is, you know, you can even be talking to your family and still be networking. You know, if you hear a certain, a problem and you have someone that can be the solution to whether it's your cousin, grandma, aunt, best friend, you know, that's networking in itself. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people tend to miss. And you just have to remind yourself that you always have to be a networking type of person.
Yep. You're always networking, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
Sam, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate your energy and your enthusiasm. And thanks for spending time with me today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I was actually really excited to do this. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, bud. Be sure to call, text, or email if you're thinking about buying or selling in the Palm Springs and Cathedral City area. All my information is below. Now, I'll see you on my next episode of Networking Nuggets.